Well, I'm Youwei. I want to first say thank you to the Ookami teams. Actually, I have learned a lot since I joined these teams, especially during the office hours, working with Ava, Dave, and Tony. They have helped me solve lots of questions. Okay, MOM6 is, I think, it's just only one of the scientific applications and the porting on the Ookamis by the graduate students. And currently there are lots of other applications are actively compiling on the Ookamis. And actually, for my research, I usually focus on the tropical cyclones and the climate interactions. Like the tropical cyclones usually getting the heat from the oceans and provide the wind and the mechanical energies to the oceans. And at the meantime, in the future climate change scenarios, the atmosphere and general circulations will changes their strength and the range. So it will influence the genesis of the tropical cyclones, like the total number of the tropical cyclones and the intensity of the tropical cyclones. To investigate the future changes and the interactions between the tropical cyclones and the climates, for example, the oceans, we usually our research groups use idealized fully coupled climate models, which is ocean covered planet or a very narrow land continent in the middle of the basin, to simplify the reduce the complexities of the climate model. Back into the MOM6. MOM6 is a ocean model that mimic the circulations of the in the oceans by solving the NS equations on a rotating sphere with thermodynamic terms, and it's ocean components in the CSM. It's a fully coupled climate. It's a fully coupled climate models, and MOM6 is based on Fortran language. MOM6 solving the 7 equations for 7 unknowns. So, and the feature of this ocean model is first, it used this Akawa secret, allocating the tracers in the center and the vorticity and the velocities at the corner and the edge. There is some advantage of this grid is good for the energy or the variable conservation, which is very important for a long-term climate simulations. And at the same time, there has some disadvantages like the less accurate corridor terms. And the MOM6 also, they can use any kind of vertical coordinates, like the height coordinates or the hybrid coordinate, or the isopycnal coordinates, and it's enabled a very thin layers in the vertical directions, which is good for the resolving smaller scale process. For the compilers flags, we successfully compiled the MOM6 using all the available compilers on the Ookamis, and also we try to compiled on another machines located in the Wyoming computational centers running by the NCAR. It's a Cheyennes. They use the Intel compilers and the Intel processors. As we take it as a reference for the running time. And we choose one of the test case and provided in the GitHub. That is 1 degree global oceans. And they are, the number of grids is like it's like 4,000 around. The depth is from 0.5 meters to 6,000 meters. We run it for 30 more a day for the performance. And the configurations of the surface, the boundary conditions is prescribed, it's a fixed atmosphere fluxing to the oceans, and the bottom's boundary conditions is the realistic global bathymetries. In the initial conditions, we choose the realistic temperatures and salinity. And then here is the performance for the pure MPI tasks. So x-axis is the number of cores we use to run the same simulations, and the y-axis is total the real running time. As we can see, for this single node performance on the Ookami, the Fujitsu compilers have the best performance, around 2 times faster than the GNU compilers. And for the multiple core performance, actually the runtimes decreasing and reaching saturations with the increasing number of cores. And also the Fujitsu is the fastest one. Surprisingly, the Intels on the Cheyennes has a little bit faster than all the compiled versions on the Ookamis. One point here, the Cree compilers, we successfully compiled it by Cree compilers, but it's only could run on several number of nodes. For the other number of nodes, it will the job will abort it because of the segmentation fault. And one metrics of throughput that concerned by the researchers is how much times will cost to finishing the simulations. For example, the simulated years per walk clock day is a very important metrics to tell us how much the experiments will take. And we calculate this throughput on the performance based on the performance on 6 nodes. For the fastest one of Ookami, the Fujitsu version of MOM6 usually could run around 50 simulated years per walk clock day, which could satisfy our the normal research needs for the computational resource. And the power consumptions of each simulation is around 117 watts per node. And we also test mapping the MPI ranks by the NUMA regions. First we fully load on the 12 tasks per NUMA, it gives us the relatively low speed comparing to one task less per node per NUMA. So the 11 nodes task per NUMA is the fastest number, is the optimized number of tasks per node we got, and we also find that if we keep the total number of the task constant, but in the two different ways to allocate the jobs. One is to fully load it on each node, but that has a fewer number of nodes. The time is the number here is the runtime using the same number of tasks but fully loaded NUMA in fewer nodes. And we find that we'd better have a larger number of nodes, but the fewer number of tasks per NUMA. This kind of configuration is the faster. And then we take a look at the results from the Fujitsu profiling tools. For the fastest 11 tasks per NUMA case, it had a higher memory throughput ratio. And the SVE operation rates is similar between these two cases. And the application accounting for the most part of the running time is in this applications, and they have the fewer portions on the 11 tasks per node case, per NUMA case. And also this case had the lower portion of the MPI communications consuming time. And we also tried the MPI plus OpenMP hybrid one. To mimic the topography of the A64 fax, we set 12 threads per NUMA, 4 MPI tags per nodes. Actually, we've successfully compiled by all the compilers, but it fails to run because of the one of the initial initialization bugs in the source code, and is under. We submitted the tickets to the model developer, and is under the process of fixing this bug. So, as to wrap up, the Fujitsu compiler is the fastest ones on the Ookami for the MOM6, and we also find that 11 tasks per NUMA is the fastest configurations, and we will try the hybrid one if it's available, and the next step is supporting the fully coupled climate model on Ookami, including the atmosphere model and land model and the sea ice model. And that's it. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Youwei, for sharing your experience. Do we have any questions or any feedback or something?
I have a question. It looks like even though MOM6 runs a little bit faster on Cheyenne than it does on Ookami, even with Fujitsu, that it's closer to being, in parity than a lot of the other codes that we've seen. And I'm wondering if you just have any speculations as to what about the MOM6 model might explain that, or do you have any idea, is it the underlying sort of math that the code is operating that might explain that, or do you have any ideas, I guess?
Well, Well, I think I don't have the very clear idea, but I guess maybe actually it's the Cheyenne is designed for the geofluid models and simulations, and maybe they're carefully tuning and but yeah, for the others and the specific reasons, I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea either. I was just surprised that it wasn't actually worse than it was. So good work. Thanks.
Thanks.
Any more questions from somebody? Okay, then I will jump in with one because I'm also interested. The example you showed with on what you're able to run, I think 50 times of simulation year in one day. That's per node, or oh no, you say it's 6 nodes.
6 nodes. Yeah, only 6.
Okay.
Yeah, with more nodes will usually give us some faster speed.
Okay, that's great. And the example you showed at the very beginning, like this sphere with this bridge in the middle. So that's actually what you're simulating. You're not having a realistic model of the worlds with all the continents, but you have a simplified one.
Right. Yeah. For the research, we don't have the realistic the topography of the continent. Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, comparing to the climate model we usually use, it has the few simpler physics and faster speed.
That's very interesting. That's a good idea, actually, to simplify it in such a way that you get faster results.
Yeah.
And how many years are you actually simulating, or what's the end goal, and how many years to simulate?
Usually, for new configurations that we want to run it for, based on the previous experience, we want to run it for around 400 years to see if the oceans will reach the equilibrium. And yeah, most time we'll wait wait for the ocean. Yeah.
That's interesting. That's very nice. And maybe that's something worth highlighting here, because you showed, and I think that's true for a lot of applications as we saw it, using not all the cores on a chip and like not all the 48 cores. It's can be advantageous in terms of performance to leave a few cores empty for the operating system. In your case, I think you said you used 44 cores, so 11 per NUMA region. So for everybody having application, that's something you might want to test too, because we're seeing that for so many applications, and it's really worth testing that.